Let's go. Story 6 first, Sha.
This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. On a hump of the week, Wednesday morning. This is the Smooth Breakfast. You are listening to the greatest start to your mornings each and every single day. Welcome along to the ride. My name is Ayokunmi, and it's that time to take a deep dive into the headlines in the papers to see what's going on, making the rounds across Nigeria. Welcome to Freshly Pressed. It's an interactive session. We always love to get your thoughts here, your points of view, your opinions as well. And we're looking forward to that this morning. Come through and share them with us on WhatsApp. The number is 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981. That is the WhatsApp number. We're also streaming on YouTube. You can catch the live stream at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. My analysts are in for the morning to take a look and, of course, break it all down and give us some explanation and or clarity as well. Devoe and Lakunle, good morning to you. Welcome to the show once again, gentlemen.
Good morning,
Good.
Ayo. Good morning, everyone where you're listening to us. And just as we came on, the rain started here. So it's going to be a very cool morning. Let's hope that we enjoy it.
Definitely. No rains here, but it doesn't look like there's rain on Devoe's side. Devoe, good morning. Good morning to you.
Morning, morning world, morning
jungle
Lagos.
as usual.
We're calling from the jungle,
No
somewhere
rain.
off the coast of Zanzibar.
That's how rich people do. I won't say more than that. All right, let's get things.
A cool MPC rates, a cool interest rates.
Thank you for laying the groundwork for us, Devo, because that's where we're actually going to begin this morning, talking about the interest rates. Taking a story coming out of the bunch here. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria has voted to increase the monetary policy rate, which measures the benchmark interest rate to 27.25%. Now, the monetary policy rate is the baseline interest rate in an economy, and every other interest rate used within an economy is built on the MPR. Devo, this is the fifth rate hike in the year 2024 alone. Give us some clarity on this one.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll try and make this as simple as possible because the truth is, generally, when you hear policy rate adjustments, most times from MPR to even the MPC meeting to CRR, that's the cash reserve ratio, to the asymmetrical window, you really wonder what's all this jabajantis, right? But generally, the increase by 50 basis points simply means 0.5 addition on the MPR rates. MPR rate is the rates that the CBN lends to banks, all right? Now,
Okay.
once they do that, the banks will then add their own portion to it, and which effectively, if MPR has been raised by 0.5, which takes it to like 27.5 thereabouts, by the time they add their own extra to it, interest rates to the general public, that's to you and me, to businesses, to individuals that'll be going to the banks to lend, will be shooting around uh, uh, 35 to 37%, which is
Okay.
really, really high. Okay. Now, what does this mean? Why are they raising the interest rates? I think like when you asked the question about the constant increase. Normally, um, regulatory bodies like the CBN, as central banks of various countries, they use the interest rates to check inflation. Okay. So, for example, most people would have expected that, like the Feds, that's America, they reduce their own interest rates, which means they'll have a little bit more money to spend. But here we are raising our own because our scenario, our situation in Nigeria is different. We still, just recently, we took another increase in petroleum price. Okay.
Right.
Petrol went from about 650, 700 to about, let's say, averagely 900, 1,000. So you will give the market time to be able to adjust, which means there's another round of inflation coming, which will affect food products, which will affect medical services and drugs, which will affect school fees, which will affect transport, which will affect basically everything. So it means inflation is still going up. So it just simply means if you're going to check that, you have to have a lending rate that's higher than that. Because if your lending rate is lower, what it means is that it will make nonsense of the money that you're saving or the money that you want to lend. Okay?
Mm.
So that's why our case is slightly different. But what does this mean in the long term for the country as a whole in terms of the economy? Um, a high interest rate, one, enables Nigeria to one, check inflation, but it also gives a signal out there, especially for investors who are coming in from local investors and foreign investors. It means they will earn more in Nigeria. But anytime interest rates are that high, what it also means is that it's a direct trade-off for growth. Companies can't really borrow. It will slow down the economy because it's really high. I mean, what kind of products or services are you involved in that will give you a 40 to 50 or 60% return on that sale? You understand? If you're
Right,
not
right.
making up to that, let's say you buy a carton of mineral for 100 naira and you're selling it for you put 10 naira, 20 naira on top. Just with inflation alone, you ran into losses. You understand? So,
Mm.
but the real solution, right? Because there's only so much the monetary policy can do. So I really feel and pity the CBN because the truth is they can't do so much with the powers that they have. Where the real focus should be on is the fiscal policy. Now, currently, CBN monetary policies usually affect your economy to the tune of 20%. The real 80% in this business is the fiscal policy, which sits in the hands of the finance ministry and the minister that's coordinating the economy. And unfortunately, we've not heard so much from Wale Edu. And this, I don't know, maybe he needs some push to be able to come out clean with how he intends to create opportunities for Nigeria to make money. It's like
Right.
someone who doesn't have money and you have many things to do. There's no way around it. You have a few options. You can
Definitely.
borrow money. You can also mortgage or what do you call it? Collect um, money against assets, okay, which is some equities. Nigeria needs to do that. That is one of the reasons why our LNG is still successful to date. You can do public-private partnerships where the private sector, both local and foreign, invest money into the country. So it's not a hopeless situation. It's not like we're without options. They've already mortgaged a major proportion of the crude oil assets that we have. They need to find more creative ways of helping Nigeria raise money to pump into the economy. Sorry for taking time.
Right.
I know many people ask for subsidies. It's difficult to survive. But the truth is, if you don't make money, you're not going to get out of this. So I'm hoping that we start hearing more from the finance ministry than
Yeah.
hearing from CBN.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for sharing those thoughts, Devoe. We need to make more money. There is no two ways about that one. All right, let's keep it moving this morning. Lakunle, let's talk about Zamfara State and of course the back and forth that's been going on between the current governor and the former governor. It's coming out of the punch as well. Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal on Tuesday said the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu and President Bola Tinubu were aware of the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale's alleged involvement with the banditry in the state. Now, the governor added that he had reported the minister to the NSA and the president and presented some facts to them. This is coming after Matawale, who is the former governor of Zamfara State, denying having ties with bandits in the state. I don't know what to make of this one. Lakunle, current governor accusing former governor of having hands in banditry. Let's get your thoughts on this.
Okay. So ordinarily, growing up for me, the only thing I knew about current day part of Nigeria that's called Zamfara State was a football club, Club 50 of Gusau. So when it became a state, curiously, I wanted to see what it would be like, right? One of my trips around Nigeria in my younger years when I could travel by road and all that, when it was much more safer than this, I'd been there and had wondered how the states was going to survive based on what I saw as a then. That was like maybe like 15, 20 years ago, thereabout. Now, let's come back to now. If you look at Zamfara State since 1999, I'm not sure there had been a time when there had not been an issue about the governance of that state. Remember that it was the governor of the state that started the issue of Sharia. It was the senator from there that married a 13-year-old, whether it is right or wrong, but the controversies that had always come out of that state. Today, the controversy in the state is that it is the least secured state in Nigeria. That's the place you can go to. That's the debate now. Is it the least, or is it the second? Is it the third? But the general consensus is that it's among the least secured states in Nigeria today. And for what reason is that bandits, who we hear that the reason for banditry is not even the banditry itself, but that they were formerly political tools that were used to coerce, to win elections, and who have now delved into illegal mining of solid minerals. Whether all these things are true or not, it's out there in the open for everybody to know about it. That's the perspective. But guess what the perspective I've tried to look at this thing? Bello Matawalle was born in 1965. That makes him about, no, he was born in 1969. That makes him about 54, 55, if he will be 55 if he was born between January and today, right? It will be 55 if it will be 54 if he's still born from tomorrow to the end of the year.
Okay.
Dauda Lawal was born in 1965. That means he's 4 years older, which makes it like he will be 58 or 59. Dauda Lawal rose to become an executive director in one of the biggest banks in this country. So try to imagine in your mind, imagine the kind of exposure an executive director of one of the biggest banks in Nigeria should have, right? Bello Matawalle was educated in the United Kingdom. So try to imagine the kind of outlook of the world governance that he should have. Now, try to put that in the context of what we are discussing this morning, that the two of them, they had been governors. Bello Matawalle is 54 today. He was governor 4 years ago or 8 years ago. I'm not very sure if he did 2 terms or 1 term, but I know that I think he did 1 term. I'm not very certain. Whatever it is, it means that he became governor.
It was immediate past governor. That's the most important thing here.
Yeah. So he was governor for the last 4 years. That means he was below 50 when he became governor. So we can term him a younger person in that position by today's standard, right? So now imagine that he was governor for whatever the period is, and the only thing he could come out of the state as a legacy was banditry. And now he's now coming to the open to debate that it was not me, it is you. I never had a hand. I saw with the Quran. Meanwhile, the state is in dire straits. What has happened to the monies that had been due to the state in the 4 years he was governor? What did he do? Zamfara State has the lowest, has the poverty index of Zamfara State is the lowest. Out of school children, they are among the highest. There's all the indices that you look at. None from Zamfara is looking good. But here we are. We are talking about banditry from states that are led by people who should have bigger outlook about life, about what governance is and all of that. We can't continue to do like this and think that we will have a good Nigeria. We can't. Something has to change. We keep saying these things all the time. Many of us, because we are away from these places, we don't think of how bad this situation really, really is. But it is so unfortunate that this is the conversation these two people are having. They are not talking about the number of children they put in school. They are not talking about the number of doctors that they have trained and are employed in the states. They are not talking about all those developmental indices. They are not talking about even the solid minerals that are in their states that is being illegally mined. They're not talking about all those things. They're talking about who is responsible for, and unfortunately, because of the kind of constitution we have, there is little or nothing the president can do. So we cannot even blame the president on this matter, really, because the chief security officer of the state, 2 consecutive ones, are busy brick-bratting over who is responsible for the cause of what is in the state today. And maybe we need to also look at our constitution to find a way to handle these things, that the federal government can have some overriding say in some of matters like this. I think.
Right,
I'm not
right,
so
right.
certain, but it is sad that that's the conversation we're having.
Very unfortunate what's going on in Zamfara State. I mean, you would think that two current governor and the past governor, I mean, would be trying to figure out how to get the state out of the position that it's in, but it's a case of you did, you didn't do, and so on and so forth. Very, very childish as far as I'm concerned. You're listening to Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1. It's the Smooth Breakfast. Let's take a quick break. When we come back in, we'll continue the conversation, more stories, and of course, we'll take your thoughts as well. Don't go anywhere. Devoe, we took that story yesterday morning. I just opened it and saw. We took it yesterday morning. Yeah.
Okay.
Is
We'll
there
take
still
the Nnamdi Kanu
subsidy?
story then.
Is there still subsidy? Is
There is
Dangote also collecting
300
subsidy? 300 naira.
No, the point is, it's the subsidies that's messing up his own sales.
Is there still
So
subsidy? That's what I'm asking. Is there
if
still subsidy? NNPC still say they'll
there
be
is 300
paying
now.
him. NNPC will be paying
It's
him.
not him they pay the subsidy.
Who?
It's not him they pay. Ayo, did you take the story? Which part of the story did you take?
I think it was
Ewa,
concerning that. It was concerning the subsidy part of things as well with Chibuzo
but
yesterday.
not at the Dangote. But not at the Dangote part of it now. This is today's paper.
You know what?
He's not
Let's
taking
jump
it. He
into
Do you
it.
can't
understand
change
what
it
I'm
now.
saying?
Let's go on. He can't change it. He
Do you
can't
get
change
my
it now.
point?
It's too late.
Smooth
There's a
98.1.
reason
Love
why
music.
Dangote is saying it.
Love music, love life. Welcome back into Freshly Pressed. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. Ayokunmi here. Join us on the conversation by sharing your thoughts on the stories and your perspective as well. 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981. That is the WhatsApp number. Also join us on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, Devoe and Lakunle are in with me this morning, making some sense of all the stories that are coming out of the papers. Let's head over to the Vanguard, Devoe, and talk about what's been going on concerning Nnamdi Kanu. Now, the detained leader of the proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, on Tuesday asked Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja to recuse herself from his trial. Now, Kanu spoke from the dock at the resumed proceeding in the 7-count terrorism charge the federal government preferred against him. And it was quite a spectacle in court on Tuesday. But Devoe, let's get your thoughts and let's make some sense of this one.
Well, this is a turn that has taken place in the Nnamdi Kanu case. As you know, he is the detained IPOB leader who the federal government has, in a way, kept under lockdown because of this legal trials that he has been under since the Buhari administration. Now, at various points in time, his legal team has gotten some levels of updates from the Supreme Court, which affected his stay, affected his health issues, affected how they would go about it, and they believe that the Federal High Courts, which is keeping him, hasn't obeyed those Supreme Court rulings to the letter. So yesterday in courts, after his own lawyer had spoken, he stood up and spoke directly to the trial judge, Binta Yaku, and mentioned that he has no faith in her carrying out the trial anymore. And in so doing, she should recuse herself. Recusing simply means step down and replace yourself with someone else if you believe your presence or your administration has been tainted. Justice Binta said that she had no problem doing that. And what that means is that she would take the case file back to the Chief Justice to assign it to someone else. Okay, that's what basically it means. Now, we don't know who that person will be. We don't know whether that person will be a judge that will work in his favor, interest, or not. But what is important here is that beyond the legalese, as they say, of this matter, I would really recommend the federal government in looking at a accelerated political solution to the Nnamdi Kanu crisis. As you know, um, there is a connection, even though many people debate it, between his detention and the social, cultural unrest that's taking place in the southeast. Nnamdi Kanu has many times asked his followers not to uh, undertake violent means of any reproach. But the
Right.
point is, I think just like it's being done, because sometimes some people also believe that there's some compromise or some bias in the way he's being treated. Because even if you're holding him down for terrorism, we have seen other terrorism charges and cases in different parts of the country, and when the suspects are caught, they're given a different treatment. Either they're released or nothing is being done about them. Or in the case of Yahaya Bello, he walks straight into the EFCC and walks right out, you know? So you really wonder, why are you being so hard on Nnamdi Kanu? Now, I'm saying this because this is the way we have run our politics within the country. So I'm calling on the president, as the father of the nation, to ensure that he brings some level of accelerated uh, uh, um, execution to this matter so that we can
Right.
address it fully and squarely and some way in somehow return some level of peace and stability to the southeast.
All right. Thank you for that, Devoe. A WhatsApp message here. There's no name attached to it, but it says Bilo Matawale is the Minister of State for Defense. The president should drop him from his cabinet and hand him over to be prosecuted if there's credible evidence of his collaboration with bandits. Tony from Marine Beach says all this back and forth, conspiracy theories, allegations, and pointing fingers of accusation on issues surrounding banditry and terrorism would have ended if the government had the will to tackle security issues. The list of over 400 sponsors comes to mind. We hear some persons are proposing another dialogue with bandits. Now the military has gone very hard on them. Investigation should start from such persons. Zamfara is the catchment area because of gold deposits, and the crime has both local and international dimensions. All right, thank you for your thoughts. Lakunle, let's jump back in to the conversation and take a story coming out of the Premium Times. Now, Nigeria's unemployment rate rose to 5.3% in the first quarter of 2024. That's according to the National Bureau of Statistics, the NBS. And the Bureau said this in its Nigeria Labor Force Survey report for quarter one of 2024, which was released yesterday. That's Tuesday.
All right. So the story paints a lot of pictures, speaking a lot of technical terms and all that. And this is where, let me start by saying this, that for the benefit of readers of our newspapers, I think our journalists owe us the responsibility to try, after receiving these technical terms, should try to break it down into easy language that the average man on the street can easily understand. So we have a lot of technical use of technicalities here, like you hear something like unemployment rates, labor force participation rates. So the ordinary man will struggle to understand what all these what this means on itself. But the point of it is that bottom line is that more people are becoming unemployed. January to March 2023, the unemployment rate was 5.0%. January to March 2024, it is 5.3. That means that it has grown by 0.3%. So it just paints a picture for us that between January and March 2024 and now, which you don't have the figures yet, it could have been worse, it could have been better. Don't forget that March 2023 to January 2024 is the period, it was somewhere in that period that subsidy was removed. As of today, the price of fuel, the major driver of economy, as between now and March 2023 and now, the price of fuel has possibly gone like 4 or 5 times more. I think it was 187 as a March, and by now it is 900 naira there, about 900, 1,000. So we're looking about 5 times, 4 to 5 times more. So, and the reports we hear from Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, Employers Consultative Assembly, and so on and so forth, is that businesses are closing. It was in that period too that we had that a pharmaceutical giant, two of them left Nigeria, and so on. So this points to these things that we're talking about, the reasons for this growth in number of unemployed people. Now, what are we doing about it? A case in point is the story we just spoke about. Instead of addressing this point, we are discussing who is sponsoring banditry or who is not sponsoring it. What have we done to prevent the people who sponsor banditry to find people to use for those things? I mean, we also spoke to Devoe's first story was also about increasing money MPR. Is it?
Yeah.
When increasing MPR in itself does not solve a problem. We need to find the things that we can produce in Nigeria, that we can add value to, that we can sell to the rest of the world. And if we can find such people, it is people that we employ. The numbers we are looking at in this thing, in this report, is alarming. It says that about 18% of the Nigerian population, because according to it says that we have about people between ages 15 and 24. They constitute about 40% of the Nigerian population, according to this story. I will check those numbers and be sure, which means that 18% of Nigerian people are currently unemployed, and they are aged between ages 15 and 24. It has not factored in the 24 to maybe 60, which is the retirement age in Nigeria. So if we find that our young people are unemployed, we will continue to have the issue of the drug problem that we all complain about. The people who justify they are not going to school by saying those who went to school, what did they bring out of it? So the stories that we need to speak, the things that we need to do are staring us in the face. We have a Universal Basic Education Commission that the governors are not taking advantage of. During the administration of that last administration, the President Buhari challenged every state. Look, this money is there. Put up your own participation money. I will put in the counterpart money. For every 1 naira, I will match it with another 1 naira. And none of the governors took advantage of this, to my knowledge. And so on and so the things that we need to do to stop this thing are staring us in the face, but we're not doing them.
It's rather unfortunate. The solutions are right there, but the will to actually get up and do something, you just wonder why that is the case. Let's round up with some messages. Ajayi Loniwa says, it's strange that the CBN continues to increase interest and foreign exchange rates. No, it's interest rates, not the foreign exchange rates. And yet government expect the cost of goods and services to come down. How does this stimulate production and bring down inflation? Good question. Let me see who else is talking to us here. Damilola says, no to any political solution in the Nnamdi Kanu matter. He should face his accusers in court. There are many victims that have died or were killed due to his incitement. Will they not get justice? Let the courts decide that at the end of the day. Bryce Adanokuda says, the Zamfara ex-governor's outburst is very shocking and shameful. He is really a bad example, or it is really a bad example for the Nigerian youths clamoring to be the helm of affairs of political leadership. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, and thank you so much, Lakunle and Devoe, for taking the time out, as always, this morning to join me on Freshly Pressed. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me. Let me go and stand in the rain a while. It's been a while since I did that.
Oh my goodness. Enjoy yourself, but be careful. You're not as young as you used to be. It's all I will say at the end of the day, Lakunle.
I will enjoy it. Let the winner try, they may come out again.
All right, Devoe.
All right, now go there.
All right, then. Take care. Have a great morning, and thank you all for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast. We'll get into the locker room at 8:15. It's all about sports at that time. 8.1.